stroke, broken, something's wrong with the dog, okay? Just like lower body, we're gonna address this side first, okay? So, and just like lower body, I want you to make sure that when you thread this, you pull it up at least past your elbow up to your shoulder as much as you can, okay? Alright, so I'm gonna help you. Okay, so use this hand to thread this arm.
Like this?
Yeah, just like that.
All
The way as much as you can, okay? Good. Alright. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Just make sure you're not taking it past my hand.
This is still men.
Right now it's men, okay? So now what I want you to do is take this hand and place it over your head. Okay, now can you show me? Alright, so I would say men for donning the shirt. That's another thing, you have to make sure that you are specifying, are they donning or are they doffing their clothes, okay? Because if you think about it, when you are putting your clothes on in the morning, do you have more energy than you do when you're taking your clothes off at night? Okay, so they may be standby assist, min assist in the morning, but mod to max assist by the time you get them in the afternoon, okay?
If you document it as threading, is that assuming that it's donning, or do you still have to write that?
You can just, you are assuming that threading is this.
Putting on, okay.
Okay, yeah, okay. Now what I want you to do is take off that sweatshirt, okay? A couple different ways that you can do this. We're gonna take this arm out first, okay? You can take it over your head, which I would recommend with it being a sweatshirt, because it's a little bit more bulky. Or we can take this arm out first.
Okay.
Right. So if you have a shirt that's more bulky, I would recommend to pull it up over their head. Yeah, you're good.
Is it fine if it turns inside out?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, now, take this arm out if you can, and then take this arm out. Okay. Alright. Makes sense. Okay. Alrighty, this upper body dressing, this is called a hemi dress technique. Okay, the hemi arm goes in first, alright? And then, again, most overhead shirts, it's easier to take the nape of the neck over the head. If not,
Put it back on? Yeah. Regular?
yeah. Okay. So with bulkier t-shirts, sometimes it's easier have them take their non-affected side, pull this down all the way as much as possible, and then take it up over their head, okay? Alright,
Also
so
writes
this
that
is
out.
multiple verbal cues, okay?
Mhm.
If it's a patient who has cognitive issues, or sometimes who doesn't even have cognitive deficits, and you're having to give them multiple verbal cueing, and that is, the verbal cues are the only type of cues that you're having to give, then you can actually, talk to your OTR about writing a goal that it's less than 3 verbal cues, less than 4 verbal cues, okay?
But if you're educating, you're gonna give verbal cues, so do you have
Correct.
to state verbal cues with education, or is it covered under educating?
So that's just educating,
Okay.
but the return demonstration is
Gotcha.
where you need to add in the verbal cueing.
Okay.
Okay, because especially if, think about verbal cueing when it comes to discharge planning, okay? If somebody's still having to have 1 to 2 verbal cues to do something, they cannot be by themselves. Like, it has to be 0 verbal cueing in order for them to be completely independent, okay? So like 1 to 2 verbal cues may be a phone call from somebody at home. 4 to 5 verbal cues, maybe somebody needs to come in during the day. 7+ verbal cues, maybe somebody needs to stay with them, okay? So that's why the verbal cueing aspect is so important, because if I'm still having to give her verbal cues for everything, she's still not safe. And you also have to think about, especially when it comes to interdisciplinary team, like progress meetings, what are you having to give the verbal cues about? Is the verbal cues about maintaining non-weight bearing? Is it about the process of using hemi dress technique? so that she can maintain her restrictions for range of motion. Like, what is the why? Give me the why.
Okay.
Okay, alright, because if you think about it, a tech could, like a home health aide could come in and help her get dressed if it's because of like range of motion restrictions. But if it's just a couple, like verbal cues. But if she's completely reaching her arm over, that could mean that she's gonna pop that shoulder up or hip
Right,
or whatever
safety.
out of joint, so it's more of a safety issue, okay? Alrighty, I think that's it.